Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode 172. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
And what's going on, sir?
I don't know. What
All
is
right.
going on? It is a leap year week.
It is actually, yes, we have an extra day of the year this week. So
We-
my online handle doesn't make sense every 4 years.
Oh yeah, that's very true. You should change it to 366 just for, leap years.
One time, one day every 4 years. Just
Yes.
change it.
Or do like 365 plus 1.
I should make more 366 my burner account.
Or maybe you should consider more 365 and a third.
122 and an eighth?
1/4.
122 and an eighth.
Well, then you'd be if you do that, if you think about it, it'd be more 365.25. You'd be like a Kingdom Hearts game.
Ooh, I like that. Better than the reference I was just making.
Yes, definitely better than that.
And who lives at 122 and an eighth?
No idea.
Oh, really? You're standing on it, dude.
What?
No?
Do I live at 122 and an eighth?
Almost. I think you do. It's from the first Ninja Turtles movie when the Domino's guy's delivering.
Oh yeah, okay. I
Why
don't know that movie that well.
Wise man say, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. So I love that movie. The movie's fantastic. The only movie me and my parents saw together in the theater my entire life. So
Really?
yeah, my dad doesn't go to the movies.
No, I would think that you guys would go see like Saving Private Ryan, like stuff. I know he would be big into those.
No, he is when they're released on home video and we can watch him at home. So, fun side note, especially for those who know my father, this weekend we watched the new Midway movie, which is phenomenal.
Okay.
And it's the first time we both saw the movie, but my dad's giving me spoilers because it's actual encounters of what
He knows
happened.
what happened.
Oh, forget about. I mean, the little stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, well, there was a bombing over here. What if they announce it? And then boom, bombing of so and so. I was like, oh, okay. It was actually very funny.
So he just gives away the whole plot because you don't know your history.
Hey, no, I know my history, but it's the little details.
No, I know
that you. Oh, it's hysterical. So in any event, but that wasn't the only thing I was doing this weekend, as I was very busy this past Saturday, my friend.
Yes, you were. I saw our Facebook feed was really hot on Saturday.
Yeah.
Not only with myself, we Larry and I, for those who don't know, are doing a video game challenge this year, and the goal is to complete as many retro games that we've never completed before.
And our motto, I think the going motto is quantity over quality.
No, your motto is quantity over quality. I'm trying to play enjoyable games.
I've enjoyed every game I've played so far.
Well, of course you have, because you've beaten them. Any game that you beat is enjoyable, no matter how terrible it is. Case in point, on Saturday, I started off the day combating your Bugs Bunny birthday blowout with Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle, which I played through. And then you decided to answer back.
I did, and for a minute I was gonna answer your Warner Brothers with my Disney, but it didn't work out too well until the evening. But yeah, so first, how'd you like not Birthday Blowout, but Crazy Castle? How'd you like Crazy Castle?
Crazy Castle was great. I mean, I remember playing it as a kid. I just don't remember, that they didn't make the game that difficult. It's just that it's just long.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I remember playing it because every time you beat a level, you get an extra life. And I remember playing it as a kid. It's like I would just shut the game off because I didn't want to play it anymore. It's not that I didn't want to beat it, because there were 60 levels.
Yeah.
So now, as an adult and more of a completionist, it's fun to go back to the game and be like, no, I'm going to play all the way through. And Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle, even though it's a licensed game with Bugs Bunny and all the Warner Brother characters, it's a cool little puzzler. And at 60 levels, it was really fun. I had a great time playing through it.
Which is weird how the NES, I guess it's not weird now to think about it. The NES game had less levels than the Game Boy game, but it is a fun game. And you're right. Now that we're older and have a bit more patience, I think we can get through games like that because you're right.
Yes.
I'm like 12 levels in. I'm like, when is this gonna stop? And then I just turn the game off.
Exactly. And patience is definitely something that you've grown accustomed to in your older years.
In
Because
bits and pieces.
we know how much you've talked about it ad nauseum, how much you never really completed games as a kid.
Oh yeah, it between just boredom
Mhm.
or that whole situation where you get a new game, then the old game just falls to the wayside.
Exactly.
So you did Crazy Castle, which was very fun to watch, very good. Some of those like levels that brought you back, I didn't even know about.
Yeah,
So that was weird.
there were some weird ones in there where I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it was like, well, and granted, probably 2/3 of the levels in that game I never played, so
That's true.
yeah.
So I saw your Crazy Castle, and then I raised you with the Little Mermaid, or I matched you.
Hmm.
Actually, a game I've seen played before, and it is a fun game. I got to admit, yes, it's a short game, but it is a fun game. And
Okay.
I kind of blew through it, but you can, if you took your time, there's more to the game than what it was. And I was at Game On, and I'm like, let me just throw this in. It's kind of like Kung Fu, another situation where I was like kind of zoned in, and then all of a
Hmm.
sudden they mentioned Ursula, so I'm like, okay, I got to assume this is the final level. And then that's when Brian was kind enough to start taking video. So I knocked that out, which was awesome. By the way, congratulations, Game On, 5-year anniversary.
Yes,
So
congratulations, Game On.
so very good.
I'm sorry I couldn't be there for the celebration. I really do. I really do love those guys in the
No,
store. It's awesome.
they are awesome. And
Yeah.
someone ordered him a pizza and had in the pepperoni put a 5. So
Oh
he
yeah, I
put,
saw that.
yeah. So we had a good time at the anniversary. So then I was telling them about the contest, and then they're like, "Oh, we can probably, help out with some games." Because, like I said in the beginning of this contest, I feel like some of my games are going to be beaten at Game On for just the
Yeah.
sheer access. I didn't realize that so far all 4 games I've beaten were all at Game On. Well,
5.
3 of them. I'm up to 5. I've lost track already.
You
Well, we're going to
forgot
show the
you
graphic here
forgot
in a
Kung
moment.
Fu.
Actually, I was counting Kung Fu in my head.
Oh, okay.
So, but in any event, so we're playing around, having a good time. I tried my hand, actually, both real quick, both at the time of the recording, Friday night and Saturday morning, and then a Game On twice. I tried to beat Operation C on Game Boy.
Oh, okay.
I did get for the first time ever, got to the final boss, got destroyed, but got to the final boss. So that's good enough for me for now.
Hmm.
Then I tried my hand at Tailspin originally. A game that I tried playing on the Saturday morning collection, which I eventually did, which we are counting because it's an NES version of the game, even though it's on the PS4. But the mechanics was weird. But once you nail down the mechanics of Tailspin, it's actually a really fun game. So when all that was out, I'm like, I gotta get one up on Anthony today. And I'm like, I'm looking around and they just happen to have it laying around. I'm like, let's do Where's Waldo. That is a short game, but a difficult one at times. I got to be honest with you. Like
Oh,
you're like you're up at the
okay.
screen. You're like looking,
Yeah, no, don't do that.
for Waldo.
Don't do that. We just lost like 5 viewers.
For what? For what? We got to get 5 first. For Waldo, and then it just kind of ended. And I thought there was one more level. You hear me on the video. I'm like, oh, that's it. Okay. So then that was done. And then finally, when I got home, because I was so frustrated, I didn't beat it. And also because Tristan from Game On texted me later that evening and was like, nailed it. Like he beat it that evening.
Uh,
So I'm like, that's it. I'm putting it on. Of course, he had the cartridge. I got the PS4 version. But I finally got through it. And then that put me up. So I'm at 5 now.
yeah, you've got 5 games now.
Kung Fu. Well, let's show the graphic if we
Well,
can.
yeah, let's take a look at the graphics since
Yeah.
the graphic
Put it
is
on the
updated.
board.
We're gonna throw it up on the board right now. And
And at
is
some
it
point.
there? Is it there?
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
All right. So here's where we're at.
Yes.
So Anthony actually showed up strong with the Goonies on Famicom, I got to admit.
Yeah, and because the box art is so wide, it counts as 2.
We will actually almost dips into 3, to be honest with you.
I know. Look how wide it is.
Anthony allowing Kung Fu, even though the disastrous end of 2019 with Kung Fu.
That was awesome.
Which, by the way, Tristan, because when I played it, Brian was there. Tristan didn't realize what happened, so I showed him the video of Kung Fu, and he looked at me and he's like, you should not be able to play that game ever again. I'm like, you're right, but I had to try one more time.
Yeah.
And then I came back with a couple of cartoons from our childhood.
Yep.
Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout, The Little Mermaid, and Tailspin. This is out of order, but that's okay. And then Where's Waldo was on there.
I really didn't want to put Where's Waldo on the graphic because it just bugs me.
Quantity over quality.
That is you, not me.
And that's where we're at right now, as of what's today, February 23rd, as of the recording here.
That is correct.
But it's going good. But yes, look, I get it. The games I've been playing so far have been quick. I mean, they're games. They're still games. Mm-hmm. So, but after what we're going to get into right now, after seeing a certain movie, I am determined to finally get a Genesis game on the board for me, because we both saw last week Sonic the Hedgehog, and I have a feeling that we would lay this out, and it should be in the title of the episode. Spoiler alerts, spoiler alerts.
Oh, no, I don't have spoiler alerts in the show title.
Oh, so. Well, we will.
Well, you just gave the warning. We're going to give spoilers. I mean, at this point, it's a week after the movie. We are the retro gamers, so it's not like we can dance around the discussion.
Yeah. So, and we'll try and put timestamps. If you want to skip this portion for now, and then you can come back and visit it, because we'll talk about other stuff later. That's not spoilers. But let's get into it. Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie that the internet forced Paramount to redesign. You said real quick last week, Ant, that you loved it. Now let's get into details about this game, this movie.
I loved it.
Awesome. All right, folks, we'll see you next week right here on Retro Gamers. What was it about it that you loved? Let's start first with story, because we already seen the redesign of Sonic from the trailers.
Yeah, we've seen the redesign, and it was kudos to Paramount. Was it Paramount or Sony?
Paramount.
Yeah, kudos to Paramount for actually going back and listening to the fans and fixing this. Now, granted, there's a lot of back and forth discussion regarding should fans be allowed to influence how a movie gets made. My response is yes, because you're vying for our money. So if you're getting that much of a negative response from the beginning, and it's something that can be addressed, then by all means, I think it should be. Granted, you can't go back and redo an entire movie because somebody is unhappy. But this was one of those weird things where it's like, oh, we know this is CGI, so we know you don't necessarily have to go out and refilm anything. It's really just going back into going into your computer programs and fixing this guy. So
yeah, and that's what it you're right. You maybe not dictate story, because there's a discussion saying the writer owns the story, it's their point of view and stuff.
Right.
But we're talking about an existing character that we all know and love, and to do that drastic, especially after a movie like Detective Pikachu, which shows you can pull them straight out of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's how we see them. And to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't feel the same way about the film had I looked at the original Sonic in there, because to be honest with you, he was so jarring that it would have distracted me from the rest of the film. I would have just been looking at him and been like, God, he just looks creepy.
And even we've already dropped the spoiler alert, so I think I can say this part at this point now. Mm-hmm. If they would have kept, and I told this to Brian from the Playable Characters podcast when he messaged me about the movie, if they would have kept the original Sonic, the cameo at the end of the movie, which look, all fans have got to understand and realize, Tails appears at the end of the movie, very quick, setting up a sequel. What in the hell would Tails have looked like if they would have kept the original Sonic?
I don't want to know. I really don't want to know. So
it would have been terrible.
Let's just leave it be. Let's just assume that when the Backlash came out, they hadn't done that yet.
Yeah.
And
a fun one, Tails' voice in the movie, same as in the video game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's
good. Awesome.
Yeah.
So then getting back to actually the story of the film, what I really enjoyed about it, because this is my pet peeve with any any licensed movie. So in other words, a movie based or an adaptation, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
a movie based off of something that already exists. So, you know, your Street Fighters, your Mortal Kombat's, whatever it is.
Mhm.
My biggest pet peeve with all of these films is that they always tend to want to cram in as many characters as you can find in the game. So it's like, oh, it's like we have this whole library to pull from, so let's just pull all of it.
Mhm.
And the biggest mistake behind all of that always is it's overload. It's too much. It's too much to process. It's too much to deal with.
And I
Hold on 1 second.
okay.
What the first thing that I have to give them credit for is the simplicity of it. You focused entirely on Sonic and Sonic alone for the film. You know what I mean? In terms of your hero
Mhm.
character. And
Mhm.
that alone to me was the first win because it's like I wasn't dealing with Tails, I wasn't dealing with Knuckles, I wasn't dealing with Amy, none of them. It was just focus on
Yeah.
Sonic for the first film. That great start right there.
What I was going to say before was that the game, like a perfect movie that suffered from cramming in too many characters, would be Mortal Kombat Annihilation, in my opinion,
Yes.
where they just and half the characters they killed off in the beginning of the movie anyway.
Yeah.
So you know,
No, absolutely
um,
right. Same thing with the Street Fighter movie, if you remember. Now, granted, that wasn't a good movie, but it literally had like
oh, the
every
first one,
yeah, the
the
first
Muscles
one
of
had
Brussels, yeah,
it had absolutely every character in it, and
that wasn't a.
I was like, it was like blink and you miss half of them. It was
I want
weird. So
to go back to your comment of it wasn't a good movie.
it
I,
wasn't a good movie.
where's my Street Fighter, the game, the movie, the game?
Oh God. Anyway,
Um, so yeah, you're right though. Focus just on Sonic. Which look, yeah, I think nowadays and I've been subject to this. And for those of you just tuning in or listening for the first time, I know Ant hates when I say this, but it's somewhat true. He's kind of got a better mind of all this because Anthony,
oh stop.
lives in
Yeah.
Los Angeles. No, but you've been on that side of production. You've
Mhm.
seen how the writing works. You've seen how filming works. So you have a different mind than I would go as just the casual moviegoer going into a movie. So you're gonna hear like Ant's gonna really analyze it. He's gonna do it from his point of view, but you're gonna hear some good. And I love when Anthony talks about movies because you hear his that like his opinion on it from his point of view. Where me, I'm gonna be like, loved it. Let's go on. But a lot of times, I think in nowadays where people do want instant gratification and instant satisfaction,
Mhm.
like I think a lot of people maybe like would have wanted like Knuckles or
Mhm.
Tails or something like in the beginning or halfway through the movie, where we have to realize in a world where we're getting a ninth Fast and Furious, movies, franchises are just becoming very long spaced out television series
Yes.
where all right, you have your first movie, you establish Sonic, then as the movies go on, you say you get 5 or 6 Sonics, kind of
Mhm.
like Transformers. We just kept getting more and more characters.
Mhm.
So patience is a virtue when it comes, I think, to licensing nowadays with these movies.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. If anything, it's the Marvel effect, and that's basically what I can call it as the
Okay,
Marvel
okay,
effect. Because when Iron Man first came out, there obviously it was questionable right from the get-go. In other words, will this movie be successful? And the entire Marvel universe basically hinged on the fact of will Iron Man be successful? Now, they could have said, well, you know what? Maybe we can make it more appealing if Captain America shows up in here, if the Hulk shows up in here, or somebody else. Like let's start loading it up. It's like, no. Marvel started with we're focusing on one character. We're going to make the best possible story and we're going to do the best possible character development with him. And if this succeeds, now we have a plan for going forward. And they always had their plan from the get-go,
Mhm.
but it's still hinged on one film success.
Yeah.
Now, prior to Iron Man, you saw them make attempts with like Hulk and the Incredible Hulk and other ones, and they didn't do as
Blade.
well.
Yeah.
But they decided like this is where we're going to focus, and this is going to be our plan, and it worked out. And everybody since then has tried to replicate that formula. DC has tried to do it. They didn't do it that successfully because again, in the rush to catch up, they just went all at it where it was like, oh, we want to do what Marvel's doing, but we're going to do it in the way where it doesn't work as well. So in other words, introduce multiple characters at the same time and try and fast track our way to an Avengers movie,
Mhm.
which was Justice League. So they kind of fell back to that old style of, do too much too fast.
Mhm.
Other franchises are learning with Marvel, like with the Marvel way. It's like no, it's like you got to pace this out, and that again, and Sonic, I felt like really did that. We just focus, and I said we just focus on Sonic, but really there are two characters we're focusing on, and it's Sonic and Robotnik, because Robotnik gets a good amount of screen time
Oh
too,
yeah, as you
almost
should.
equal to Sonic. So we're really establishing the hero and the villain in this film.
Mhm.
We're not really focused on anybody else. James Marsden is, basically James Marsden is us. He's the audience's eyes
Mhm.
in the film. We're basically learning everything as he's learning everything, because that's what you need. We need that guide to
Yeah.
get through a film like this, because we're dealing with kind of otherworldly elements in a sense, or
Mhm.
fantastical elements.
Um,
Go.
I was gonna say, and the James Marston aspect of it, where like the human side of the movie. All right, fine. I mean, Robotnik's human, but that he's still from the game, but you add like this real world into it. I think I read on IMDb like one of the original ideas at some point, like a side story, is that and I don't know the actress's name who played his wife in the movie. I mean, I don't.
Oh, I can't remember her name, but she
All
was
right,
great.
she was
She
fantastic.
was awesome.
They wanted a part which almost looked like it was leading to it. Like they wanted a part where like their marriage strains now because he's trying to save Sonic. He was supposed to get a job in San Francisco, all this stuff. But they didn't do that. Like they kept them strong as even to one part where she's like, okay, as you can tell, I'm keeping my composure. There's a blue alien in the other room, and I've been cool about this whole time. And I like that aspect because I felt like that's almost like an automatic go-to where this alien disrupts the lives of somebody, but it's just a one long fun adventure. And that's what we got out of this movie. Ultimately, story-wise. Real quick before I forget, uh, were you the only one in your theater who got the joke about the mushroom planet?
Yes.
So was I. Okay. So in the trailer, you see Sonic jumps through different worlds with the rings. And for those of you who are like, he's never done that in a game, I forgot which one it is, or in the comics, everything that happens in this movie either comes from the games or the comics or the animes. So there's a lot mixed. Even a thin Robotnik started off like in one of the comic books, and the comic series leads to how he got fat and bald and everything. But in any event, in the beginning, Sonic's like, well, the next world I got to go to is this mushroom world. It's all mushrooms. Who wants to live in a world of mushrooms? All you hear in my movie theater is, ha! One lone laugh, which was me. And I wanted to get up and be like, really? There's no one else who's getting this inside joke? So I was very upset at that.
Well, that's okay, Larry. I mean, not everybody is as well versed in games.
It was a packed crowd.
Well, there's nothing I can tell you there.
I'm not looking for justification. I'm just looking to talk about it. Okay, but going back to the story.
Yeah, going back to the story, and I think you hit the nail on the head with that, with James Marsden and his wife and the relationship. It's a cliche. It's like something happens, upends their world immediately. It's again, husband wife have issues because they don't know how to adjust to this X factor that's thrown into their lives.
Yeah,
and to your point. I like the fact that they didn't go the cliched route. And it's like, you know what? Instead of them separating over it or arguing over it, in other words, it's like, no, she's in. She's all in. But if you pay attention to them earlier in the film, for the little bit of time that we do get to spend with them, they never really give you a sense that there's going to be a crack between them. So if they had done that, it kind of would have come out of left field and would have actually felt a little false. It would have felt like just a plot device. It would have been like, oh, you're just inserting this here to add tension and drama, when in all honesty it wasn't needed. And again, this goes back to my original comment of they kept the story simple, they kept the conflict simple, so you didn't need that extra element. You didn't.
No, I absolutely agree. I just thought it was going to happen, like you said, Ant, because it's cliche. I'm used to it happening. Like in Ted, Ted breaks up the two of them. I can't remember who was in the movie, but in any event,
and Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis, thank you. Mark and Mila, breaks him up for a little while, and that's what I was expecting here. But I was happy that didn't happen, and we got a lot of good, action, a lot of good action in the game, in the movie. Anything else like you want to say in your end as far as like how the story came off? Did you feel it was based on what Sonic can do in the history of Sonic? Did you think the story itself was strong? Look, I know it's not Oscar worthy, but for what it's worth.
No, I thought. Well, if I'm really dissecting the story, it's like to me, like to me.
Don't. No, but go ahead.
I'm not going to.
I know. I know.
I would honestly categorize the story as basic. It really was
Okay.
basic. There was
Which it should be.
nothing.
Yeah.
There was nothing super complicated about it. Alien on another planet comes to Earth, meets another, meets another human who has to help him against a foe. That's pretty much the basic story. There's nothing really super complicated in it. But again, for introducing an audience into a genre or a world where, let's face it, up until this point has pretty much been a almost complete and total failure in the film industry.
True. Gaming, you mean?
Yeah,
Gaming
just game.
movie.
Yeah, video game adaptations have not fared well at all. So I think that their focus on keeping it basic and just really telling a simple story is why this film, to me, is a success. You didn't overload me on information. You didn't try and make it too goofy. So in other words, perfect example.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect example. In the video game, at the end of every level, Sonic frees a bunch of, animals that Robotnik has captured, right? We didn't have any of that kind of nonsense where you had like a whole bunch of animals getting freed and joining Sonic in this whole thing, like there were other ways they could have gone. And that's why I think that it worked really well, because they chose not to. Okay. And I can also attest to the fact that I brought a friend with me who had never played a Sonic the Hedgehog game before.
Okay. Wow.
And it's actually kind of a video game newbie. He's one of my friends that I played Dead by Daylight.
Oh, was he on the episode a month ago? The one I was
my friend Russell. He came to the film, and I dragged him to it. I said this last week. I dragged him to it because he made me watch Underwater with Kristen Stewart, and I told him, no, you're coming to Sonic now because of this. But at the end of the film, I looked over to him and I said, what did you think? And now he's also in the film industry, and he's probably deeper in it than I am.
Oh, really?
Employment? Oh, yeah. He's worked in entertainment his entire career. So I turned to him and I said, okay, what did you think? And I'm expecting basically me, skewer the way that I would skewer a film. And he just looked at me. He's like, I really enjoyed that. I did not expect to enjoy this. And I'm like, done. I was like, right there. I go there. And that's, to me, awesome. Yeah, to me, that's awesome. Because again, in terms of this video game genre, casual film goer in that sense. But just overall, the general, the story, the pacing, the characters, like he was very happy with all of it. And I'm like, okay, I go, and to me, that's what's making this film a success. They managed to hit all the points without overloading and confusing anybody.
Absolutely. Two things real quick. One, do you find it difficult to enjoy a movie just casually because you know a lot of like how it goes into work and what you want to do when you do your writing and everything? Do you find it really difficult?
For some films I do.
Okay.
For some films I do. For other films, if I'm watching it and they're allowing me to catch something or critique it immediately, I start to lose it, because it's like, perfect example was Us. When I watched Us, about halfway, like 2/3 of the way through the film, I noticed something, and I'm like, up until that point, I was along on the ride, and then something happens, and I'm like, wait, plot hole, done. And I sat through the rest of I literally sat through the rest of the film like this.
Someone call AAA. But like you go into a movie like this, again, you're not, and when I say we know it's not going to win an Oscar, meaning like it's not made to be the next Citizen Kane. It's just some movies are just made to be fun.
Yeah.
So that's all right, cool.
No, and that's what this was. This was really just a fun romp. I mean, if I wanted, I could sit down and dissect it.
Oh, you can destroy this. I know you can.
Yeah, I mean, well, but I
meant,
yeah, I don't want to, because I enjoyed it. So I don't want to start going into nitty gritty details that are going to kind of take away from it, because overall, when I look back on it, and I go, it was an enjoyable experience. I thought it was a really good film. So
at points, because I did this and I had to stop myself. Did at points you find yourself looking in the background and stuff for Easter eggs?
Yes.
I about halfway into it, I'm too busy like looking in the background and stuff, and I'm like, what's happened? I just missed what happened because I'm trying to find like speed shoes or a TV monitor or something.
Yeah, no. I did do some of that, but I was really focused on the story. I wanna turn things over to you for a minute, since I've been talking a lot, because I want to hear how you felt about Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik? Because I know how I felt about it. So what
um
did you think of his portrayal and just his overall story in the film as well?
So here's the thing. I got to start off by saying the reason why I really enjoy Jim Carrey as this Robotnik, because the Robotniks I'm used to, like in the video games, you don't really hear him talk. You don't really see him move around other than when you're fighting him in each of the boss levels.
Right.
In the old 90s cartoon, the one that Jaleel White voiced Sonic on, yeah, he was a bit goofy, but he wasn't eccentric as much. So I never really got much of, like in my head, I never envisioned what Robotnik could be like until I watched Sonic for Hire on YouTube from Lowbrow, and it was on
Oh yeah.
Rooster Teeth, which is, again, we've talked about before, hysterical. In that series, they portrayed Dr. Robotnik as just this nut. He has no pants on. He's always in his underwear. He's always like just he's high voiced and he's off the page eccentric. In fact, they've been doing those characters review the movie. In fact, it's very funny. Because of that, I saw a lot of that Sonic for Hire Robotnik
Hmm.
in Jim Carrey's portrayal. I am not saying Jim Carrey based it on that. He probably doesn't even know what that is. But that I think saved me, because if I went into seeing this without having like that background of what Robotnik could be like in a goofy
Hmm.
way, I probably would have thought, oh, it's Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey.
Uh-huh.
And then I'd be like, where's the fat, bald Robotnik throughout the entire movie, not just at the end? That would have taken me out. So in happenstance, luckily, Lowbrow helped me for that. With that being said, I think this is Jim Carrey back to being Jim Carrey, that goofy. I from what I understand, I think almost all of his lines were ad-libbed, basically. Or at least just not from script, like changed in some way, shape, or
Okay.
form. Especially the dancing scene. They said just run with it. It
Hmm.
reminded me of a very In Living Color, Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey, which I really love. So I was happy to see that. For a nostalgic movie
Hmm.
based on a 90s video game, we got a 90s Jim Carrey.
Yep.
I loved it. So,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you. You know, it was nice to see Jim Carrey return to form after so long.
Hmm.
I think obviously the time away from that helps the nostalgia of it, because it's like,
Yep.
wow, I haven't seen Jim Carrey act like this in over 20 years.
Exactly.
I was like, but then on top of it, when you're doing obviously a video game villain, you want to add there's got to be a little bit of camp to it, especially when you're dealing with something lighthearted. In other words, they weren't going a super serious route with
No.
this film, except for maybe the opening 2 minutes.
Hmm.
Um, but it wasn't supposed to be super serious, so your villain still had to have he definitely needed a comedic flair, because like they were going for action and comedy.
Yes.
Um, and obviously Jim Carrey is a master of comedy. So just allowing him to pretty much chew the scenery, and that's
Oh,
exactly what
yeah,
he did.
absolutely.
He
And he should
just,
have. Yeah.
yeah, he just ate it up, all of it. He just shined the whole
Yeah.
time. Like he was shining the whole time. Like every time he was on the screen, like I would always start to smile, because as serious as he was, with the I gotta catch this thing. He was just on the whole
You-
time.
Talking about smiling, and I do this a lot now when I go to these nostalgic feeling movies.
Hmm.
I won't lie. When the Muppets, when they came back for the first time to theaters in a long time, a few years ago, I sat there, and when when they put on the Muppet Show
Yep.
near the end for the telethon, I shed a tear. I'm like, I just went back to being a 5-year-old again,
Yep.
hearing the song. So I'm not saying that I cried during this movie, but I definitely felt moments just wash over me. Like, there's Robotnik in the red suit
Yep.
in a flying vehicle. Um, oh my God, the part like after they win and they're redoing the house, they have this like slow piano version of the Green Hill Zone
Yes.
music.
Hmm.
Um, Even the real part when they do the the total rip on X-Men and Quicksilver with
Oh
Sonic
yes.
moving so fast everyone stops, which are two very funny moments. He plays on the scene when all the bullets are at him
Yep.
that we see in the trailer. He plays he plays a tune on it, and I think it's the end level tune. Like when you went
Oh yeah.
um and when I caught some of those like Easter egg stuff, like the scene when they're in the hotel and Sonic goes all over the place.
Yep.
There's one part where you see him on the edge of the table and he's doing the wobbly thing,
Yep.
like when you're on the edge of a cliff, and I just catch myself smiling.
Yep.
Like, just the only, like, I can equate it to when we talked about on the podcast way back when we first had Josh on. The only good thing about the Power Rangers movie that came out a couple years ago is when they started playing the Power Rangers song when you see all the Zords coming out.
Oh,
That was like going,
I disagree on that entirely.
oh, I mean, there's other stuff. I mean, we talked about it back then, but when I hear like "Go Go Power Rangers," I was like, yes. So the overall feel, and then even the part which did get me a little bit, I'm like, when Sonic starts talking about how he's been on Earth for 10 years, but he's been alone. And here he is, with the Donut King and the Pretzel Lady.
Yes.
And and he's like part of their family without being part of their family, and how he, really doesn't want to be alone anymore and just wants a best friend. I was like, keep it in. Don't cry at a Sonic movie. You can cry at a Muppets movie, but don't cry at a Sonic's movie. But that's the stuff I love. And overall, it hit the nostalgia. It did. I think, again, Detective Pikachu helped in the fact that you can pull these characters straight out of the game and it works. And I think I'm looking forward, because as soon as Tails came out at the end, like, you knew he had to show up at some point. And when he came out and he looked like Tails and he sounded like Tails, I'm like, cue this sequel, greenlight it right now. I don't know how well it's doing domestically. I mean, I think the numbers are really good.
Well, no, I mean, it did really well over the holiday weekend. It pulled in, I think, 68 million.
Okay.
They were, and the early estimates for it, I think, for the 3-day weekend were only 40 to 45, and I think it cleared 57. So it's definitely above expectations. Internationally, it's doing decently as well. I want to say the last time I checked, it was like 130 or 140 globally, and that does not count this past weekend. I didn't check this past weekend's numbers, but I think it's safe to say they were already anticipating it coming in first this weekend, because it really doesn't have any solid competition. So I mean, I think we're looking domestically at this point at a good solid, I want to say anywhere from 160 to 180 domestic. So and I think that will be enough to propel it to another film, not even counting the global numbers. I mean, when you put in the global numbers, I mean, I can see this clearing 300, and for a Sonic film, or just, for the film based on its budget and everything like that, I think a sequel is a no-brainer.
Sounds good. I mean, short of Detective Pikachu being absolutely fantastic, and probably, I would say, the first Resident Evil was probably, those two you can say were really successful video game movies. Domestic,
Mortal Kombat as well.
Oh, first Mortal Kombat.
First Mortal Kombat.
So, but Sonic is I mean, I think Detective Pikachu might have it, but I gotta believe Sonic is going to be up there as one of the most successful video game movies of all time. But bottom line,
it did have, just to interrupt, I'm sorry. But it did break the record for the largest opening weekend for a video game adaptation.
Oh,
it did beat Detective Pikachu for opening weekend numbers.
Fair enough. And do you, kind of one of my wrap ups on this point, anything else you have we can go with, do you feel that some of that is because some people may have felt like, all right, they changed it, let's see the movie just because they did us a solid, so let's do them a solid?
I actually do think that played into it, but my response to that also is, do they listen to the fans? And that's what I said. And I was like, and I think that when studios do listen, they'll benefit from it. And in this case, they benefited from it. Now, granted, if the film was not as enjoyable as I thought it was, and you thought it was, and other people did, because right now, like the cinema score on it, I think is at an A for audience members, which is great. So I mean, this is going to have legs, I think, for a while. But if the film wasn't enjoyable, you would see a steep drop off this weekend. Everybody would have been like, okay, that actually turned out to be crap, even though they fixed it. And I don't think, obviously, it would have just sunk. I was like, but because
your friends not to go.
Right. But because it was a good film, like I've told all of my friends, I said, no, I go, trust me. I go, it's enjoyable. And on top of it, it's a family film in February. And that's the other thing you got to look at. I go, this is a movie you can bring your kids to. And February is not really a very popular area for kids films. It's just not. When January, February tends to be the dumping ground for films that you tend to know aren't going to do well, between that and your Valentine's Day romantic film.
because you're coming out of the holiday movies and there's just
Yeah,
so much.
yeah. Like end of the year is usually where they try. You have holiday movies. They try and squeeze in whatever
Mhm.
Oscar contenders they want to do before January hits. And
Oh,
then
okay.
yeah, and then you've got like kind of this January, February, which is it's usually kind of quiet. You'll usually see some horror movies pop out around this
Mhm.
time because again, just modest stuff.
Yeah.
And then March it starts to pick up a little bit, and now April's kind of seeping into the summer movies now when you
Okay,
get to
I got you.
April. So
All right.
yeah, so this is like if you've ever noticed, Fast and the Furious actually takes advantage of April. They usually release their movies in early April so they can ride the wave
Oh yeah,
before
true.
some of
Yeah.
the monsters. So yeah, there's a timing to all of this in terms of when to drop a film. And January and February is usually like, all right, let's drop the films we know aren't going to do that well. I
Okay.
was like, but Sonic, of course, I thought it was actually kind of very strategic because they may not have been sure how this was going to do, and it's turned out to be a great success.
Also, originally supposed to come out in November, so they probably didn't want to delay it too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Probably. So February just ended up becoming a date to do it.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, I'm actually really happy that it didn't come out in November because I honestly think if it came out in November, it would not have performed as well as it is now, as it's doing now. Because
Even if it
November,
had, even if
yeah,
it had the correct looking
yes,
Sonic. Okay.
yeah, because November you're talking about holiday, you're getting into the holiday season, and
Mhm.
November Disney had Frozen, and
Okay.
there was another big holiday film or November film over there. So I didn't like where they had placed it originally.
Okay.
So I was happy they moved it to February.
Cool. All right, so we got one thumb each because the two thumbs up is copyrighted. So one thumb up each, I think, for Sonic. You got any other stats or
Can you do
information about the
this?
movie? I don't. Which finger are you using? Oh, okay.
Well,
Um,
none of your business.
anything else you want to kind of any fun facts or anything about the movie you have or
No, I was
something
gonna,
to
I was
save
gonna
after
go,
the break?
yeah, I was gonna go into some like stuff you may not know about Sonic, but I think we've kind of talked enough
Okay,
Sonic at this. So yeah,
fair enough. Sanic. I like how Sanic made it in.
Sonic.
Yeah, the meme.
Well, what I didn't hear in the film?
What?
Sega. All right, Larry, it is time for this week's Did You Know?
Oh, all right.
And I went straight for obviously the theme of our episode, and I have a nice little Did You Know piece about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, shocking. All right, what do
All
we
right,
got?
very big surprise. But did you know that Sonic's original name wasn't Sonic?
Ooh.
Did you know this?
No. Was it
Okay.
was it Miles? Like, did they try and?
No.
Oh, okay.
So originally, now, and we also know this. Sonic originally was not a hedgehog. We've talked about this before, so maybe this is a little extra. Did you know?
Oh, I
Sonic
forgot
was
about that.
originally supposed to be a rabbit.
Yes, I forgot about
Which
that.
makes sense considering how fast he goes, right?
Hmm.
But then they
Hmm.
wound up going with the hedgehog because they wanted to do something different, something cooler,
Hmm.
and we wound up with the hedgehog. But Sonic's original name, or the original idea proposed by designer Naoto Oshima,
Hmm.
he wanted to name Sonic Mr. Needle Mouse.
I feel like that's just a poor translation. I
No,
feel like it sounds. No, no. What I'm saying is, I think it sounds a lot cooler in Japanese.
it might sound cooler in Japanese, but that was actually the name they were going to go with was Mr. Needle Mouse. So Mr. Needle Mouse the Hedgehog.
I'm sorry. I find that hysterical. Keep going. I'm going to be here for a while.
Well, no, I mean there really isn't that much more to say, but I will
Okay.
say this: for anybody who questions how legitimate this was, later on in the development of when they were developing Sonic the Hedgehog 4 in 2009, the
Oh,
original code name for the game was Project Needle Mouse because they wanted to keep it a secret.
yeah.
So, sorry about that.
Pause for edit.
Yeah. So they were originally going to call that Project Needle Mouse. We can
Mhm.
sneeze. We're allowed to.
Okay.
Or they called it Project
Less
Needle
work
Mouse
for me.
based off of the original name that they were going to
That's
call
awesome.
Sonic. So it's just a cool little tidbit of information about Sonic. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine him being named Mr. Needle Mouse. That
Oh,
would just be absolutely absurd.
I will be beating Mr. Needlemouse at some point this year. I will never call him Sonic again. I think just the Mister is what really adds
Yeah.
to it. I
And
love
then
it.
just another little tidbit since
Yeah.
we're doing Did You Knows, and I'll throw another one out there at you. Did you in terms of Sonic's backstory, he was originally supposed to be the leader of a rock band.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. And the rock band, they actually did this.
Huh.
The rock band consisted of a parakeet, a monkey, a rabbit, and a crocodile.
Sounds like a bad Star Fox.
And well, and on top of that, to add more to the backstory, he was also romantically involved with a woman, not a female hedgehog, but a human woman named Madonna.
Oh Lord.
So
Well, he does. That happens later on in Sonic Unleashed. So
yeah. So there were other little bits, but I really wanted to focus on the name thing. So Mr. Nino Mouse thankfully changed to Sonic the Hedgehog, and that is this week's Did You Know?
all right. I am never gonna get over Mr. Needlemouse.
No, nor should you. But I will say earlier, you did say during our mini segment that you're going to beat Mr. Needle Mouse, and I just don't think you should say it that way.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Let's leave that there.
I am printing up new Genesis labels for any Sonic Genesis game I have.
Okay. So Mr. Nino Mouse and Tails, Mr. Nino Mouse and Knuckles.
There you go. There's the one to play.
There's the one.
So what do we got today in news, Ant?
Retro news. I got a few things. I don't know what you have. But,
got nothing. I got something.
And most of these things we posted on our page, but I wanted to just bring them to people's attention.
Yeah, sure.
So the first thing was, and I thought this was really interesting because this is a game that definitely brings me back to college and my love for the Sega Dreamcast. But it was announced earlier this month that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is getting a documentary.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I mean, it just recently announced. It's going to be at the Mammoth Film Festival, premiering on February 29th, and the name of the documentary is "Pretending I'm a Superman." Now, if the title sounds familiar, it was the iconic song that was in the first Tony Hawk Pro Skater. It was called Superman. It was a ska song. I'm trying to remember who sang it.
Call me Superman if I'm alive and well. That one?
No. That's Three Doors Down.
Oh, never mind.
I could play a clip of it, but I just can't think of it off the top of my head.
Fair enough.
But anyway, Superman, pretending I'm a Superman is the song in the game, so the film, the documentary, releases February 29th at the Mammoth Film Festival. More importantly, I'm looking forward to actually seeing this when it comes out.
Yeah, this would be cool
for the general audience.
I didn't know
Goldfinger. Goldfinger was the name of the squad.
Gotcha.
There we go.
I didn't realize this was. I didn't realize it was coming out like in a. I just thought it was in like pre-production or something.
No, that's apparently it's been in the works since 2016. So
wow.
Literally had no idea that this was working out. This was happening. So really cool. It's something to keep an eye out for all of you Tony Hawk Pro Skater fans out there. You're going to have a documentary about the game coming soon. Now, let's face it, that game was just amazing. It literally came out of nowhere. It's like we've had like a few skateboarding games over the course of time. I was like, but this one just shattered everything.
It's no skate or die, I'll tell you that much. No, it was totally different. I didn't think it would, it was the signs, skateboarding was popular. Yeah, it just hit at the right time. And neither one of us are skateboarders, but yeah, the game lived for itself.
Yeah. So we have that. We have that coming. Do you want me to just run through my news before you?
Yeah, because I got the stuff I have is different, but yeah, just go through the news.
Oh, okay. No, okay. Just a couple of other things, and then we'll jump into our other stuff. So Tiger, if you remember Tiger Electronics.
Oh yeah.
Tiger Electronics was well known for making handheld games in like the late 80s and most commonly in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So the little handheld games that you
I thought I had one.
Nope. But they're making a comeback. So again, Tiger is jumping on the retro bandwagon.
Nice.
And they are releasing retro LCD screen
Even
handheld
better.
games. And the games that will be included, and they're launching this fall
Okay.
for $14.99.
Oh wow, good.
Yep.
That's probably the
And
original price.
just like the original Tiger games, each one is only going to play a single game, and they'll
Mm-hmm.
be graphically themed to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the launch titles this fall will include The Little Mermaid. No, these do not count as retro games that we can play.
Oh, boo.
Sorry. The Little Mermaid, Transformers Generation 2,
Ooh.
X-Men Project X,
Okay.
and Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
There you go.
So Hasbro, and again, this is in coordination with Hasbro. Hasbro says that each game is inspired by the original version from the 90s, so same control setup and stuff like that. 2 AA batteries will power the thing.
Nice.
So I'm actually looking forward to the X-Men one because I did own it. I remember owning X-Men, and I think I owned Sonic. I just don't remember if it was Sonic 3 or not.
I don't remember.
And I have no idea how Sonic would play on that. Oh yeah, I do. I remember.
It plays good.
Yeah. So we're getting those in the fall. They're actually available for pre-order at GameStop if you want to pre-order them now. Just don't put any money down in case GameStop's not here come fall.
I will be pre-ordering those later.
Yes, you will.
Actually, I do have a couple of quick news that I found last night. It may be on your list, so I apologize. And it's both related to Netflix. First of all, Castlevania Season 3 will drop March 5th. Yeah,
yes.
That one? Okay, yeah, I was flipping through last night, and
Very
I caught
exciting.
it. Finally had a date, so that's cool. Also that I found, and I did post this on our Facebook page, and
I
this
saw
came out of nowhere, and I ended up watching it. And it's an original Netflix anime movie. So they did it. It's a Dragon Quest movie from the game. Dragon Quest: Your Story. I mean, it's a solid hour and 50 minutes, so it's a full-length feature film. Yeah. And it was, I got to admit, I mean, it's no Sonic the Hedgehog, but it was really good. To the point where it's just, even if you never played Dragon's Quest, it was just, it hit on all cylinders. It had a good story. A lot of it goes pretty quick though. Like it's, again, it's something that you can dissect, but take it for what it's worth. It's a Netflix anime movie. Right. So, and anime movies usually do that. Like their stories are all over the place, and I don't want to give anything away. It's just the beginning and the end. Like the beginning is awesome. Like, I'm like, this should be the whole movie. Then it gets into the movie, and then the ending is like, what in the holy flying hell is going on here? And then it's very anime, and I don't mean this in a bad way, like very Japanese anime ending on how like the story goes.
Okay.
But I was not bored. I figured I'd turn it on for a little bit, see what it's like. I watched the whole thing. So when you get a chance, Dragon's Quest, it caught my eye because it had the slime was on the cover. So what is this? I thought it was just like another, toys that made the 90s or whatever, or games that made the 90s.
Oh, I need to watch that, by the way.
Yeah. So the wrestling one is really good. Yeah, if you got a chance, if you got 2 hours to kill, absolutely watch Dragon Quest on Netflix. I recommend it. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right.
That's all
back
I got.
to me?
Yeah.
All right. So a couple of other things to throw out. Over the weekend, New York Toy Fair happened.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and Larry, I know that that should be your mecca. I'm surprised you don't go to those. You should find a way to get to this. It's business only.
Yeah, exactly.
I have coworkers that went. I don't qualify to go, unfortunately.
A boo.
That's okay. I qualify for Comic-Con. I'm all good. So anyway, Funko announced. I'm surprised you didn't pull this one out.
Oh, if you go to my Facebook, my Instagram page, more pop vinyls, MOHR pop vinyls. I did post a lot of the ones that I'm interested in.
Okay.
As far as pop vinyls are concerned, so go.
Yeah, but in terms of pop vinyls and video games, Funko has released that they had announced earlier that there were 4 new Pokemon pop vinyls coming. Now they have announced 4 more 10-inch Funko Pops.
Yep, the big
Pokemon
ones are coming out.
that are coming. I'm sorry. They're not all 10-inch. They've announced a 10-inch Funko Pop Mewtwo that will be exclusive at Target in North America.
Okay.
And then they announced 4 new Pokemon pop vinyls. And the new ones will be, the previous ones that they announced were Mr. Mime, which I actually want, Mr. Mime, Mewtwo, Pichu, and Vulpix. Those were the first 4. Now they've announced, and I gotta say, I do like this one that I'm looking at right now. They've announced an angry Pikachu,
Yeah, I do like it. Yeah.
and he looks awesome. A hissing Rattata,
Yep.
a happy Growlithe,
Yep.
and Cubone. And
Cuba.
Cubone actually is holding the little bone in his hand.
He is, yeah.
So
And
that
you know, it's
poor little
it's fun.
depressed Cubone.
When I saw these, I thought they were like Detective Pikachu releases, but
Mhm.
no, they're
No,
Pokemon. I
they
mean,
are.
Cubone looks like Cubone.
Yeah, they are the original Pokemon characters. So
I'm,
we got some more pop Pokemon pops on the way.
I'm looking at
Larry's
it
gonna
here.
have to build another shelf.
Oh,
Uh,
don't even get me started because I already ordered the Back to the Future 35th anniversary pops. So
oh boy.
those are on all 12 of them. I didn't realize Mewtwo was a 10-inch supersize, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that'll be cool.
They also, gaming wise, you can pre-order right now the Contra pop vinyls on Amazon,
Oh yes, that
and
is
they're like
true.
$11 each.
Yeah, you know,
So
I've been trying to downsize my stuff.
they don't take
um,
up much room.
no, they don't. But when you know, but if I say that every time, I would be a hoarder. So
Case in point,
yeah, exactly.
my
Um,
Funko
and,
Pop.
and the last bit of news that I have was actually also Pokemon related, but there was a eBay had announced to Nintendo Life, which is one of the sites we check for news, that in 2019 they did a recap of the best-selling Pokemon trading cards
Okay,
on eBay.
on eBay, yeah.
And they listed what were the top 5 most expensive Pokemon cards sold on eBay last year. And I just have to call this out because this is absolutely insane.
Let's do it.
I'm going to go through it really quickly. Number 5 was the Pokemon Japanese 20th anniversary 24K gold Pikachu promo card Giza Tanaka.
Say that 3 times
Got all
fast.
that?
I think so.
$12,500.
Ooh, nice.
That was number 5. Number 4, 1999 Pokemon game first edition holographic Charizard, which I know is a really expensive card.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
$14,000.
Wow.
Number 3, first edition Shadowless Charizard, PSA 9 out of 10, which means it was a graded card.
Graded, yeah.
$14,500.
Dang.
Number 2, 2005 Japanese Umbreon Play Promo Gold Star Holo, PSA 10, so
Ooh.
mint,
Yeah.
$15,000.
Wow.
And the number 1 Pokemon Ultimate Charizard Collection, PSA 10. Now, 10 out of 9. I don't know what that means. 10/9.
It is so good.
It's so
it
good. It's
transcends.
better than the 9. The highest is a 9. But you got a 10. First edition, 18,500.
Wow. Those are some
So-
pricey Pokemon cards.
If you've collected Pokemon cards as a kid and you still have them and you didn't dog-ear them to hell because you threw them in a shoebox, you may want to start going through your Pokemon cards and checking how much they go for on eBay because that is insane. It made me. I really wish I collected Pokemon back then, but
Trade
I was
them now.
I was in college and it didn't make sense to me.
That's true.
That's
That's nuts.
everything I have. That's everything I have for retro news.
I got 2 things just actually super quick that reminded me. One, as of right now, speaking of expensive stuff, as of February 23rd at about 11:15 a.m., the current bid for the Nintendo PlayStation is at $300,000,
Wow.
and the bidding ends. Oh no, that's the reserve. When was the bidding end? Bidding ends some point. I think it's still going. Oh, ends in 12 days as of from the 23rd.
That's insane.
I heard, though, it is useless bidding on this thing because I heard a story or a rumor that the guy who owns the Oculus Rift, the Oculus set, he came out and said, I'm getting this. It does not matter how much I have to pay. And he's got money. So I just envision him putting in like that max bid of like $2 million and just it's useless to bid them. So which kind of ruins it, but is what it is. If you got the money,
not only does it ruin it may keep people from actually bidding on it, which means that the seller may not get as much as he could have gotten had this person not come out and said that.
True, because unless the reserve, they said the reserve would have been lifted on the 27th, so I'm assuming the reserve was lifted because it's already. Oh wait, today's the 23rd. Oh, maybe not. We'll see what the reserve is.
Yep. Okay.
And then finally, and Ann, I don't know if you knew about this. This one I think you will be interested in. As of right now, well, it depends on what system you want. As of right now, the pre-order for Retromania Wrestling is up and running.
I saw.
Yes, and I have officially pre-ordered mine. If you go to
What system?
I'll tell you that in a second. Go to retromaniawrestling.com. That's where you can pre-order it. It's going to be pre-order is available right now for the Nintendo Switch and Steam. Due to their rules, how they do it, Sony and Micro for the PS4 and Xbox One, as of right now, pre-orders are unavailable, but when they can, they'll get those up and running closer to release. They just literally can't do it right now for those two systems. The game is expected to come out in July of 2020, so this July.
Okay.
And remember, folks, if this is the first time you're listening, this originally started as like an homage to WWE WrestleFest and Superstars, the arcade games back in the 90s that are phenomenal wrestling games. I forgot the name of the company, but the company that made those games have came out and gave their blessing to this. So this is now the official sequel to WrestleFest. So
Which
it's
makes me
part of the
very
lineage.
excited.
Yeah, very cool. They got, and they partnered with the NWA. They partnered with House of Hardcore. For those of you wrestling fans out there, you'll know what that means. They got some big names in it. Jeff Cobb was just added. He just signed with AEW too. And John Morrison is in the game before he signed with WWE. So this thing's going to be fantastic. What I love about it, real quick, is as of right now, unless some ridiculous company makes a physical release, right now it's digital only. So, and the pre-sale is $5 or $10 less than what it's going to be.
Okay.
So for like $25, you can pre-order the digital copy, or what I did for $5 more, like $30, you can get the digital plus, which is still a digital game, but they'll send you like the Switch box with the artwork for Retromania Wrestling.
Oh, that's cool.
Like an original instruction booklet, and I think like a sticker or something like that.
That's cool.
The artwork looks really cool. So I definitely recommend it.
Very nice.
And with that, that's about it on the news. I'm just going to run through. There's going to be a little bit of a extra edition, so don't worry about it.
Yep.
For the 5th anniversary of Game On,
went shopping.
So let's do this real quick, because I got to admit though, this was a Game Boy heavy shopping time. So let's start off, and as always, I cover the prices just out of respect, not because I'm worried about how much they are. First and foremost, I picked up for the Genesis, and it's going to cover the name a little bit, but I'll do this. Subterranea.
Ooh, nice.
Very fun game.
Yes.
The mechanics on it are very odd.
You gonna beat it for the contest?
I'm gonna try to, in all honesty.
Okay.
So I got that for Genesis. Then I got, which has been a I'm not gonna say a holy grail, but it's been a game I've been looking to pick up again for a very long time, and I finally got my hands on it. And I don't care what anyone says, the Super Nintendo version is much better than the Genesis version. The Adventures of Batman and Robin.
Oh yeah, I want that game. I definitely want that game.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
And then let's go through the Game Boy games super quick, because I picked up a bunch of them. Battletoads.
Of course.
Very cool.
Super hard. Even on Game Boy?
Oh, forget about it.
Yep.
Batman on Game Boy. Same with the Batman theme. Very
nice.
Picked up this game I saw, and I looked at the gameplay on it. Haikanyu Alien.
No idea.
Yeah, no, it's an odd one, but it's a fun one. Actually, no, I'll save that one because that goes with my other story. This is how many I got. That goes with the other story.
You should have bought the NES games that you beat.
Should have. Balloon Kid, which was recommended.
Oh, cool.
Yep, I saw the gameplay on that. Very fun.
Very nice.
Super Return of the Jedi, I thought was pretty cool on Game Boy.
Nice one to pick up for the collection.
Absolutely. Yeah. Penguin Wars. This is a kind of a hidden one. The arcade game was just released on the Switch versus Penguin Wars. It's basically dodgeball.
Oh,
but it's
okay.
I
was like,
yeah, it's like a fun, goofy way of dodgeball.
Okay.
But wait, there's no more. I think that's it. Okay.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Well, there's 2 others, but I'll show those in a second because I want to show this, and then we'll Yeah, to you, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yep.
I will give credit where credit is due. Sometimes a company may be so evil and so deliberate in how they treat their customers, yet every now and then there's a glimmer of hope. And I have found the
new
one. Technically, yes. Actually, two of them. So, long story short, Limited Run has come out with releases of Star Wars games, re-releases of Game Boy, Nintendo, and 64, stuff like that. Actually, they're even releasing, I heard, for Sega CD, Rebel Assault.
Nice.
But what they did was they took the games, and for some of them, they put them in blister packs. So a friend of mine bought up a few of them with the idea of reselling some of them. Because you could buy more than one. For a company called Limited Run that sells certain amounts, apparently you're allowed to buy more than one copy.
Yay.
Anyway, so I told him, I will proudly pay you at a higher amount for your service, pay you more, and I will buy some copies off of you. He said, no problem. So my money went to him, not Limited Run. In any event, though, I will say these look awesome. So first, here is, I did put pictures up. I did do a little video as well, but now that I have Ant here, so I got to back up. So,
oh yeah, look at those babies.
Almost pulled the entire desk with me.
I saw that, so be careful.
Yeah, okay. So, Star Wars.
That looks great.
Look at that. I mean, that blister pack.
The blister, yeah. So it's an NES. It's a blue NES Star Wars cartridge in a Star Wars themed blister pack. Looks fantastic.
And you can even see on the back, you can see the door.
Oh, nice.
Perforated door that you can
open. Door where you're supposed to open it, yes.
And you can take it out, so you don't rip it off the front.
Yeah, needless to say, you're not opening that.
I'm leaving it in there, absolutely. So there's Star Wars. Here's the other one they put out, Empire.
Very nice, with a red Nintendo cartridge. I love I love the color treatment. I really do.
Color is awesome. And then what they did was I also picked up the corresponding, which actually look adorable, Game Boy versions.
Very cool. Game Boy for Star Wars, yes. And I like that because you have more room on the blister pack. You can see the poster, the actual Star Wars poster.
Such a tiny door. Such a tiny door.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's just a Game Boy game.
And then Empire.
Empire, also very nice. Love those ATVs.
Yeah, that's awesome. So because I'm not opening those, I did pick up on OG Game Boy, Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back.
All right, well that's the way to do it. Get the original ones, play those, and then keep those for display. Makes sense.
I think the Star Wars one on NES, that may be. I don't think we got one. Wasn't that the Japanese one?
I do not recall.
You know, a blonde Luke Skywalker who fights Darth Vader till he turns into a scorpion.
I'll be honest with you. I've never played the Star Wars games on NES, so I don't know.
I gotta go back and double check. So I will give credit where credit is due. Limited Run, you did a really good job on this. He has the special edition one.
Yeah,
which comes in a box set and all this stuff, and there's no blister.
Yes. Thank you, Limited Run, for being the awesome company that you are.
And the only other time, I believe my Jay and Silent Bob game will be shipping soon. So.
Very nice. I've been very happy with them, with the Night Trap, with the Dragon Lair trilogy that I bought from them, Dragon's Lair. That was really cool. So yay, thank you, Limited Run.
And with that, let's start to wrap this up. And I believe I have a little ditty.
I have a story.
Of a lovely lady.
No, I have a story and also a little shopping experience for you, Larry.
So, okay.
So yesterday morning, which was Saturday morning, after I had beaten Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle, I was playing some Dead by. I went out to celebrate by playing Dead by Daylight, like I normally do. So I was playing Dead by Daylight with my friend Mike. Mm-hmm. And while we were waiting to get into a lobby to play the game, because it's online, you got to get into a lobby and all that stuff. While we're waiting, I'm flipping through Facebook, and I pop over to Facebook Marketplace, and I'm like, okay. I was like, every once in a while I just go over there for the hell of it. Yeah. And right at the top of Facebook Marketplace, because obviously it knows I look at video game posts. There's
no, it hears.
Well, yeah, that's true. It does. It hears me. Hi, Mark Zuckerberg. So I was looking at Facebook Marketplace, and right at the top there is an estate sale, and
those can be good.
Yeah, and those can be really good. So I'm looking at the estate sale, and I'm like, okay. I was like, why did this pop up on my
Real
feet.
quick,
Go ahead.
for those who don't know, an estate sale is basically someone died and you go into their house and start buying stuff from their house.
Yes.
Because their
Yeah,
family will get rid of it the easy way.
Yes, and to be perfectly honest with you, for me, they're very depressing. So I'm not lying.
You're right.
Don't
I agree.
Yeah, I don't go to them. I'm like, because it literally is somebody's dead. Please take their stuff. We don't want it.
Oh, no. Please pay for their stuff. We want your money.
Right. Please buy their stuff from us before we have to give it to Goodwill or throw it in the trash.
Oh, the estate sale here is going to be phenomenal when they find me like 3 months after I'm dead. Oh, forget about it.
Wait a minute. Wait. You're not giving me that stuff in your will?
Depends on how quick I go.
I don't want the pop vinyls. Just give me all the games.
What are you kidding me? Those are worth a lot of money.
Yeah, that's great. I just want the games. So anyway, and the Hulk Hogan figure in the background there, just
No, I'm being buried with that.
Oh, you're buried with that. All right, never mind. I'll dig you up later. So, so I find this estate sale, and I look on it, and one of the pictures has a bunch of video games.
Oh,
and I'm like, ooh. I was like, okay. And then I'm like, all right. I had a bunch of stuff to do yesterday, but I'm like, let me look up the address and just see where it is for argument's sake, because it popped up on my feed. The house is 1 mile away from me and a 5-minute drive. So I'm like, finish up playing Dead by Daylight, get in my car to go run errands. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go stop by and see if, and again, this was like 3 hours after the estate sale started. Now, if anybody knows estate sales, there are people, like literally professional people, who will line up for estate sales right when they open or before they open so that they can get first crack at whatever is there.
They're checking the obituaries going, all right.
No,
well,
I have been to an estate sale. Like a friend of mine did one after his mother passed, and it's awful. Like people literally walk in and I have to say, like, no regard for oh, I'm so sorry somebody died. It's like, oh, where's this? Where's that? Where's this thing that you posted?
And they haggle.
Yeah. And then they haggle. Like literally, I was literally watching people walk around be like, oh, they expect to get that much for that? Oh, please, I'll come back on Sunday when they're desperate to get rid of it. And I'm like, wow. Wow.
Meanwhile, you're shoving people over. Where are the games?
Yeah. So no. So I basically just walked into I went to the estate sale, walked in, and I'm like, I wonder if the video games are still here, because it's like, at this point, it's like 3 hours after it opened. Yeah. I'm like, and I just assumed based on what I saw, I was like, these will go in 5 seconds. Walk in, they're still there. So I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Go over to the guy and I go over to the guy and say, you know, how much for all the video game stuff? And they had NES, PlayStation 2 stuff, a couple of like random things. Okay. And he looks at it and he's like, oh, it's like 200. And I'm like, okay. And I don't mind talking about prices because it's an estate sale. It's not like
I was gonna say, here we are talking about people making fun of him for trying to haggle at an estate sale.
Yeah, but again, like these are you know, the people that are doing the pricing with you are, you know, the actual
people, I know,
like the estate sale people you hire. And to be honest with you,
like a company.
Yeah, you hire people to do estate sales for you.
I thought you just go around and just start tagging prices on something.
No. In most cases, they hire somebody who does estate sales.
Never do that. Okay.
So, and here's the thing about those people. They don't necessarily know what stuff is worth. Some of them specialize in certain things and know what certain things are worth, but then for other things, they don't. So the guy just looks at it and he's like, 200. Yeah. And he just shrugs and he has no idea. So I look at it and I said, okay, you know what? I really just want the NES stuff. I don't want the PS2 stuff like that. I had Guitar Hero and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I don't want any of that. I just want the NES stuff. I was like, would you take 100 just for the NES stuff? Runs over to talk to his boss. I gotta talk to my boss. Boss comes back and looks at it. He's like, you want the NES stuff? I'm like, yeah. I said, just the NES stuff. I go, would you give it to me for 100? And he looks at it. He's like, well, he said 200. I'll go in the middle and say 150.
Is in the middle? Okay. Never mind.
So I look at it and I'm like, you know what? 150 I think is worth what they're showing here.
Okay.
No question. Go into my wallet and I'm like, I don't have 150 in my wallet. Like, I look at him and I said, look, I show him my wallet. I go, I have 138. Take it or leave it. I was like, I said, I have no, I said, I'm short $12. I was like, it's 138 or I can't buy it. So he's like, fine. He's like, you're getting it for a steal, whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool. So for
and he's a jerk on top of it.
Yeah. I was like, I was like, all right, fine, as if you know what it is. I go, you have no,
Yeah.
literally look at this guy. I go, you have no idea what this stuff is worth. I go, because if you did, I don't think you'd give it to me for 138.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'm interested to hear what this is about.
138,
Okay.
I walk away with everything. Now, I'll show you everything as quickly as I can. So first they threw these in for nothing because I don't think they knew what to do with them. So Tecmo Bowl for Game Boy.
Ooh, nice. At least you finally got some Game Boy games.
Gremlins 2 for Game Boy.
That's a fun one. I loved it on NES. It was good on Game Boy as well.
And then I don't know if this is this is Game Boy Color. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Yes, that's Game Boy Color only, actually. All right, cool.
So I got those 3.
All right.
Then I got.
You can see a little bit of a pile there. Oh, nice. 10-yard fight.
So these are all NES games. So I got 10-yard fight. I'm gonna try and go as quickly as I can.
Take your time. Don't worry.
Baseball.
Ooh, nice. Original baseball.
Yeah.
And these are all loose carts.
So they're all loose carts. Donkey Kong 3.
Nice. When he shoots him up the butt.
Yep, shoot him up the butt.
Stanley.
Double dribble.
Double dribble.
Dragon Warrior.
Ooh, there we go. We're just talking about Dragon Quest.
Duck Hunt.
Nice. Can't play it, but cool.
Excite Bike.
Nice. Even better. Wow, a lot of old school stuff.
Yep. Flying Dragon, The Secret Scroll.
What is that? Oh, I think I've heard of that. I think that's a really good game.
Football.
Football. Does that play action football?
Ghosts and Goblins.
Oh, okay. And these are all gorgeous looking carts.
Yeah, the carts are in good shape. I honestly think these were just like stuck in a garage somewhere.
Probably. Oh, look at this. A whole nother pile.
Oh, these are alphabetical. Golf.
Oh. Hold on. Did you buy them alphabetical or you put them alphabetical?
But they were alphabetical when they got on my desk.
God.
Gyromite.
Gyromite. Nice.
Hogan's Alley.
All original black cartridge, black label games. Black box, what I'm trying to say.
Hoops.
All right. It's like street basketball.
Yeah, it's like street basketball. A game called Infiltrator that I do not know.
Oh, yes, I played that. That's a fun one.
Okay. Your First Conquest this year, Kung Fu.
Oh, so gorgeous looking carts.
Yep.
Holy cow.
Muscle.
Oh, yes. Remember what Muscle stood for?
No. Mighty Bomb Jack. Let's not get into
Great
that.
game. Great game.
All right, we're getting there. Paperboy.
Classic.
Our personal
Not
favorite.
a scratch on any of these. Pro wrestling.
That's the whole thing. Like, for the most part, some of the carts have a little wear on them, like the gray portion of the carts, but in terms of the labels, all of the labels look fantastic.
And
Rollerball.
We were just talking about that last night at Game On. Okay.
Rollerball. Russian Attack.
They played that last night as well. Wow.
Slalom.
I never got into that, but still an original black box game.
Soccer.
Original black box. Very good.
Super Mario Brothers.
There you go. That's the one that we're talking about. Wow. So they
Yep.
Wow.
The Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt World Clash Track Meet combo.
The old triple threat. All right, cool.
Threat. TNC Surf Design.
Oh my God, I hated that game. I could never play it. I sucked at the surfing part.
Turtles 2, the arcade game.
Classic. That's my favorite one so far.
I'm closing out here. Track and Field.
Ooh, okay.
The first one, not the second one.
Very good.
And volleyball.
Where they just air hump.
So all in all, when you count that up,
good haul.
That's 33 games for $138.
That's not bad at all, especially for some of those titles.
Sorry, I'm not done. That's not all that was there.
I thought you said NES.
Yeah, no, I said NES. But what I also got with the games was what I really wanted, which was
the
Nintendo Power Set.
In box.
In box and complete.
The complete, which came with the NES, 2 controllers, a zapper, the triple. Actually, now you got 2 copies, I guess, of that triple. Unless
that was the one that came.
Oh yeah, there's the duct tape.
And it has the Nintendo
Power Pad. Holy Hannah. Yeah. That is, and the box is
pretty
fairly good condition.
Yeah, it's got some wear and tear.
It does.
It
does.
But yeah, no.
Look at that.
Yeah. And they had it all open and out too. So it was like, and it was funny because when I looked at the picture online, I didn't see the power pad, and when I got there, I didn't see the power pad, and I'm like, and he's like, the mat comes with it. I said, where's the mat? And he pointed to it. I was like, oh, I didn't realize you still had the mat. I thought I was just going to get the Nintendo. So
did the mat look good?
Yeah, the mat looks in great shape.
Really? That alone is the 137.
That's what I said
That
in my
all right,
head.
so going into this, you said I just assumed games, and I'm like 150 for a bunch of games, even for those games alone, because there's a couple of
No,
low
it was
price
all
games.
about it was
But
all
no,
about this.
that's that right there, brother.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, I was so happy that I walked away with it. I was like, unbelievable.
That's an episode of Storage Wars you want to see.
Yeah. So
State
I'm
Wars.
really happy that I went to the estate sale because this was, yeah, I mean, this was a great find for me and
Really
an
happy
excellent
Miss
addition to my
Milligan
collection.
passed away.
What?
Really happy Miss Milligan passed away.
I think it was Mr. Milligan.
Oh, okay. No, that's awesome though, Ant. That is a fantastic haul.
Yeah.
And
So
literally a steal.
yeah, it pretty much was, and I'm very happy that. And to be honest with you, whoever was selling it, that it went to a good home. It's not like I'm going to turn around and sell it or something. I go, this is actually going to sit in my collection, which is great.
This coming from the guy who will not buy 2 pop vinyls because he's running out of room. Just bought a giant
Well, now you know why I don't want to buy 2 pop vinyls.
that are $22 in total.
Yes.
No, that is
All right,
fantastic.
Larry. Well, let me tell you something. If you walked up to them and you saw all this stuff and they said 200, would you have given them 200?
Me, I probably would have just for that stuff. Actually, those alone are worth it. I don't even know what they have for the PS2. Those alone is worth 200.
Yeah, exactly. So like I couldn't say no.
No, you're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
So that is fantastic. Good stuff, my friend. That's the way we're going to close out this episode.
Yep.
And with that being said, we can, remember, folks, you can check us out on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube at Retro Gamers Podcast, on Twitter at Retro Gamers Pod. And they can email us where?
Email at theretrogamers.com.
Yes, and we'll be posting a lot of stuff, especially on the Instagram and the Facebook. I'm trying to keep Twitter going, but with that, we're gonna call it. And Ant, enjoy, sorting out all those games and everything. Well, actually,
we mean sorting them out. They're already alphabetized.
Not anymore.
Well, no, they are just backwards. I stacked them up nicely.
I saw. Trust me, we all saw. And forgive me for the Batman villain aspect of this camera. I didn't realize it was a little crooked this week, but
yes, it was.
Whatever. So Ant, have a wonderful week.
You do the same.
And with that, we will catch you right here next week on the Retro Gamers Podcast.